What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Ballin' with the Boys, and today we're talking about Week 4 of the XFL. That's right, we're keeping it going for you guys. Justin, I just got to know, that game was unfair to even watch.
Yeah, I mean, a 4-0 team now going against the 0-4 Guardians. I don't know what they expected to happen, but the Houston Roughnecks just had a feast with them. I mean, it was really terrible.
Most definitely. And if you guys aren't sure what we're talking about, well, clearly we're talking about the worst team overall is the Guardians, and they played the best team overall, which was the Houston Roughnecks. And actually, I believe in that game, it was the very first trick play that I've seen in the XFL.
By trick play, I believe you're talking about the very first double pass that I've seen successful in the XFL that led to a touchdown.
The one by Kirkland?
Yeah.
Yeah, the man that now has a passing touchdown on his record. Even if in that game, he has a touchdown as a reception and the 2-point conversion. Imagine doing all three in one game.
Yep, there we go. Okay, you concluded it the right way. I was a little scared there. Yeah, did you see the reporter actually interview him after? He was super excited, and hyped that he was the first one to ever get a passing touchdown and to receive a touchdown in the XFL. So, I mean, he seemed pretty excited for that.
I would too if I accomplished something first in the league.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely fair. But before we get into that, I mean, that's kind of like later on in the game. Like, it seems like the Guardians didn't have a chance from the start. With the 50-yard opening kickoff return, that was crazy. I mean, like, it just looked very unpromising for them from the start.
I didn't even want to watch the game. I just knew it was going to end. First quarter was 20-0 in the first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that came from Silvers. You know, we keep seeing game after game after game. Silvers is playing really good football out there. I mean, he's still doing really good at the 10 to 20-yard checkdowns that we was talking about last week. Mm-hmm. We also seen that he's got range. And he can actually hit those deep balls. And he can be consistent and actually go back to back to back and just consistently hit these receivers. And him and Franklin really got something going.
Right.
And I believe that the running back it was John Lee, I believe is how you say it.
I think I kept hearing Lee because I was honestly about to bring it up about the running backs. Like, you didn't even see, I think it was Borgie. You didn't even really see him run the ball that much, where Lee was getting most of it this time. So I wonder what's up with that, though. But maybe they're just, like, hey, you play a full game and then you play a full game. Keep them healthy,
Yeah, I think they're kind of probably trying to just keep and maintain the same health status for all their players throughout the season, since they kind of already have a limited capacity of players. But he was looking good out there. I mean, he got 2 touchdowns, and he's only, I think, 5'7", 5'8". Like, he's got me thinking I could go play in the XFL. Sign me up.
There's a size difference.
Hey.
Bulk up and we'll talk.
I'll get there.
Bulk up, and The Rock said, we'll talk. Nah, he didn't really say that, guys. But, no. Other than that, dude, did you realize the Guardians that they kept switching their quarterbacks?
Yeah, I did note that actually that they had Francois. They're almost using.
No. It's Francois.
Hey, I'm gonna let you dig that French. I took Spanish in high school, but I kind of noticed that they're using him almost as like an extra point quarterback. It seems like in a third down conversion type. You know, they brought him in only on special plays, but at the same time, he had enough of a presence in the game to notice that like it was a Paxton Lynch.
Lynch.
Yeah. It was a Lynch and Francois like kind of duo going on in that game.
Most definitely. Other than that, for me, man, like I said, that game was just unfair to even begin with. Like, they should have gave the Roughnecks another bye week. I'm honestly not sure if they do bye weeks, but if they did, that's when they should have gave it to them. Like, that game was just unfair. Knowing how good the Roughnecks are and knowing how bad the Guardians are, I would have been like, take a break. You just don't even show up, don't play, let them have a practice day, something.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how they bounce back next week.
If anything, dude, that game was a scrimmage game for the Roughnecks.
It was, and I think they treated it just like just like that. I mean, maybe that's why we seen the first double pass in the league. But
Right? They were just throwing stuff out there, be like, all right, let's do this.
let's see if we can do this on them.
Yeah. Next game we got is the Brahma Bulls and the Sea Dragons.
Yeah, I mean that ended kind of a low score. You know, the Sea Dragons 15, and your San Antonio Brahmas with 6, only getting 2 field goals in the game. I will note though, the second field goal is now the longest field goal made in the XFL for I think it was
actually got that
yards.
Yeah. What they got? Justin Tucker out there now?
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, pretty close. It's
almost 60. It's only 3 yards off.
I was gonna say I think that his record's like 60. 63, 64, close to that. So yeah, I mean, he's pretty spot on there.
Honestly, that game to me was a good back and forth game. Honestly, it was quite steady going. One thing that really caught my eye though is that you didn't really hear a lot of Josh Gordon in this game.
You know, you didn't. I did notice that he still appeared to be in a couple of key plays throughout the game. You know, his presence was definitely still felt throughout that game, but it looked like Pearson was Danucci's main guy in that game.
Most definitely. And speaking of Pearson, he is the league's leader in receptions and yards. He has, I believe, 348 receiving yards.
Wow.
So I know it's not much right now, but it's only week 4 and you're already at the 300 mark.
Yeah, I did hear that he was at the top. Another thing for the Sea Dragons is that Ellison. I mean, he was looking good again this week. He
had a few mistake plays, but yeah,
he did. Yeah, but for the most part, it almost seemed like the Brahmas couldn't stop him.
No, they couldn't. You know, it's like honestly, it's like being a Colts fan. You just hope and hope and hope. They get that one win, and it's like, all right, let's go for another one, and there they go down there. So,
yeah, I mean, you guys was close, okay? Your team was
well, like
close
I said, it was
to winning the game. At the end of the day, though, Cone just had way too much pressure in the backfield to pull off that comeback,
right?
Like McCarron.
Yeah. One thing though, the Sea Dragons really messed up on was why are you throwing a pass late in the 4th quarter?
Yeah.
And then it was picked too.
Yeah, I know. I
can't imagine how Danucci felt.
Notes. I did have it in my notes that Danucci threw an interception in the last quarter with the lead, and that's like kind of the most significant play out of the whole game because it could have turned the entire game from
most
a win
definitely
to a loss for him. At the end of the day, the Seattle Sea Dragons defense pulled it through for them, and I hope Danucci went and personally thanked every single one of those defensive members because they're the reason he didn't lose that game.
Oh, most definitely. They had to put the stop on Jack Cohen, and especially with the nervous ticks going on during okay, why did you just throw that? Like, what is wrong with you, dude?
Yeah, I think every week we kind of see questionable decisions out of Danucci, but at the same time, that's what we seen when he was with the Cowboys and the NFL. It's not nothing new. It's just something that they got to continue to try to work on and try to progress. And if they can't progress, then hope that it don't become a casualty. I don't know.
Okay, now this next game, guys, I am going to apologize. I thought the game was kind of boring, so I'm going to let Justin take over on this game mostly. But I honestly didn't find anything interesting about this game besides it was, just back and forth. Both teams just really didn't interest me to really write down anything. So, Justin, what you got on that Renegades and Battlehawks game?
I got that the Renegades O-line looked sloppy again. That's been a consistent thing week in and week out. I got that the Battlehawks, McCarron, he had an okay game. We definitely seen him fall off from week 1, week 2. Week 3, he had an okay game, but again this week, he looked mediocre out there. The Battlehawks themselves, though, they did have three interceptions for their defense. And the Renegades had 1, so it seemed like it was more of a defensive game, which is why it ended up being the Battlehawks 24 and the Renegades 11. However, if if a couple things went a little bit different in that game, I could easily see the Renegades taking it.
I got you. Back to the interception. I know what you're talking about. Well, one of them at least is that McCarron threw and overthrew his wide receiver.
Yep.
Renegades quarterback. No offense, don't know your name. Don't watch your team. But he also overthrew his wide receiver. So that's where that's something that did catch my eye. But I was like, it's not really nothing for me to talk about, really. But since you brought up interceptions, I was like, well, maybe I could say that. But honestly, that's all I got for that game. You got anything else on it?
I noted that Van Der Esch, one of the wide receivers for the Renegades, had a pretty remarkable catch in between two different receivers because he was coming kind of up the middle and almost got sandwiched, but he still somehow came away with the ball. I was just kind of jaw-dropping little catch there. Other than that, I didn't see anything on the offensive side that I really liked. No.
Yeah. This next game, though, it kind of caught my eye a couple of times. Well, for one, it's Vipers versus Defenders, and we know how the Vipers are. They start off good usually, and then end up terrible. Yeah. But they was like, let's reverse this role. Let's start off bad with a messed up or a low hike, cost to a fumble, and the Defenders get it.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and start with that.
Yeah, I got that exact thing noted. Another thing that's kind of closely related to that, is that it was a really sloppy football game because of how rainy it got throughout the game. I mean, it seems like they might be having that same problem with the balls, So, The Rock, you better look into grabbing some sandpaper for the league and sanding those balls down so they're not so slippery.
Come on now. Odell's going to get on Twitter and going to be like, it's the turf. We need real grass. It's the turf. Change the turf.
And if they played in Vegas this week, that very possibly could be another issue in it because the Vegas Vipers, I guess, also have one of the worst stadiums in the XFL because they're kind of working with like just a little makeshift one at the moment.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Dang, the Raiders ain't even going to let them use it?
Oh, they definitely was not.
They're not going to let them. It's not take. It's more like borrow. Like, hey, let me borrow Allegiant Stadium for so many weeks. It ain't like they're using it.
That's fair, but you got to think how many losses can a stadium take? I mean, the Las Vegas Raiders go in there and lose how many games a season?
True. Yeah, Allegiant Stadium. You're representing the Super Bowl this year, so he's probably like, let me take a chill pill before we start losing here again and represent a whole bunch of losses. No offense, Arizona Cardinals fan, they did the same thing with their stadium, so they represented a lot of losses. Next year we got this. We're making it to the playoffs next year. But back to the Vipers game.
Yeah, I mean, Brett Huntley, we've been having him kind of come up the past couple of weeks as a good player. I don't think I put him on the good side of the ball this week. I say that he was slacking from what we've seen in his other performances. One player I did note for the Vipers, though, is Lovett. He was running, juking, flipping all over the place. I seen him do I don't even know. It was probably a cool 3-4 yard flip over somebody.
Right. I seen that. Yeah, dude. Honestly, I thought he was going to flip forward, but all of a sudden he turned sideways, and I was like, that's going to be a bad fall. But he seemed to be okay.
Yeah.
One thing I did see, though, that I don't think I've seen in the other games is a coach that got fired up over a bad call. Or not a bad call, but over a call that the referees made at the end of the second quarter.
Yeah, I got the note, a sub note for that in my notes. But what do you think the call should have been? I gotta ask.
Personally think that it was I can see why it could be a touchdown, but I think it was a great call that it wasn't. The ball was not across the line. His arm was, but his arm was down before they could even put the ball across the line. That's another good reason why I think their reviewing system is a lot better than NFL's reviewing system, honestly.
Okay, and I want to know what they think also that's watching. But I will tell you, I agree with you I think that definitely was not a touchdown. It was short. I put it in my notes that Perez almost rushes for a touchdown, but the ball was short. And the 10-second runoff rule,
Mhm.
of course, that is very unfortunate. However, like, what can you do about that? Those same things exist in the NFL. It's not really too much you can get mad at.
But here's the mind-blowing thing. The Vipers got the ball back after that kickoff.
Yeah.
And then lose it right away. And a fumble, dude. That's twice. You start off so bad. Like, what are you going to do with this team? Like, you're not as bad as the Guardians, but, like, you're close to being them, but your, like, ball awareness is just terrible.
I mean, the whole football team is just like a big sin. But it's in Sin City, so it all makes sense. I mean, that adds up. On the other side of the ball, DC Defenders, who won the game 32-18, since we haven't brought up the score yet. But Amu.
What's there to bring up? It's the DC Defenders.
Yeah.
They're a great team.
Whoa. Great. I don't know.
They're the second team that's 4-0.
They are 4-0. But, like, why are they 4-0? They're not 4-0 because they look exactly like the Houston Roughnecks.
Oh, no. They actually have to play to win.
They're 4-0 because their defense has been securing the wins for them every single game. I mean, they're going with a quarterback pair, just like we was talking about the Guardians.
Right.
The Guardians
with Te'amu and King.
Yep, and they seem to be doing a lot better job at it because they're successfully.
Well, it's not even that. Did you see the freaking run that Te'amu did?
Are you talking about the one that he got smoked on?
No, I'm talking about the long run that he did.
Okay. Well, oh yes. I think I meant to note something about he was looking like Lamar. I was say because he
Without the
rushed
injured
for
knee.
about what 50, 60
I'm not
yards
too sure, but like
it
I
was a
like,
really
dude
long
broke
rush.
free for about a good amount of yards.
Yeah, I thought you was talking about earlier in the game. He went for like a short little rush to pick up a first yard, and he slid, and somebody just like still came in. They didn't care.
I think I know what you're talking about. 'Cause they called a flag on it.
Yep, they did call a flag. Yeah, we've seen a flag actually called on a QB hit. I mean, I was expecting to see a flag called on the QB hit for Silvers in one of the other games because he got hit really hard, like up in the top.
There was a lot of
different players.
I will say that in the
They
game
let that
there was a
slide.
lot of good like tackles, like make you just like gut wrench. Like, bro, how did you get up from that?
Yeah, I mean, and they're really not making taking too many flags, throwing too many flags on the field for them or anything like that. They're actually letting them play a little more aggressive and stuff. So, I mean, I think for certain fans, that's good. For the players, well, we'll see.
Yeah. Speaking of fans, I do want to close out this game talking about like. Honestly, dude, with the defenders going 4-0, and then you got the Roughnecks, not Roughnecks, my bad.
All the rest.
Yeah, it explains it all.
Right.
That's why they're 12-0 since 2020.
So I'm honestly excited for Week 6 of the XFL. I am excited to talk about this game, which is the Roughnecks versus the Defenders. Who is going to stay undefeated in that game?
Okay, now hear me out. This kind of goes back to the last video we was talking about how you're not so good at math. Adding up this requires both teams to win next week.
Game.
Now, you think the Defenders are going to stick it off another week with their defense and actually pull out the next win? I don't got a question about the Roughnecks. They proved themselves.
Yeah. I feel like the Defenders got it in them to stay undefeated.
Okay. Well, if they do, it's still no question in my mind. I feel like the Houston Roughnecks are definitely going to win that game.
I don't know. I feel like it'll be a challenging game for them because, for one, if they're both going to go in undefeated, so they're both going to want to really stay undefeated. So they're going to leave like they're all on that field.
Yeah, I mean, it will be their toughest opponent that they've faced this season. At the same time, though, I just think that the defense going against the offense of the defenders. I don't think they mix well, and I think the defenders are just going to get crushed on that offense every single time.
It's a possibility. It is. And it's just because of the way the Roughnecks play. You now know that they pull out trick plays. So yeah. But no, guys, let us know in the comments, like, who do you think would actually take this win if they both stay undefeated next week and they play week 6? So let us know who you got in that game. Other than that, Justin, you got any side notes or anything else you want to talk about the XFL?
Not really. I kind of went through and separately put the standings, but we went through that kind of throughout the thing and got out the way that the Guardians suck. One side note is I do want to note how much the Vegas Vipers actually suck as well, because I feel like the past couple weeks we haven't given them a decent amount of credit, and they're also 0-4. I don't get it. They do look a lot better than the Orlando Guardians, but at the end of the day, they cannot win a game.
So with the Vipers, it's different, I feel like, because with the Vipers, they play. They actually play. It looks like they don't just go out there and or I don't want to be out here. Like, they actually play and try to win. Where you got the Guardians, they come out there and you see them playing, you see them making plays, but then the defense and like we talked about last week, that run game still ain't changing. And then, like I said before, the pass game is where it was at for them, because that's when they started scoring.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was. It just seemed like they couldn't find it at all this week, and it seems like they can't find it when they need it the most.
Honestly, I think that team is not a team. I think everybody's just out there to try to make credit for themselves. Where you got the Vipers that are trying to play like a team, but they just overall during either the first half or second half, they just seem to not be all together, not one team.
Basically, what our boy is saying is, get your head in the game.
No I in team.
Get your head in the game.
Work together, honestly. Work together, make the plays, and then you'll pull off the win. Guardians, you just need to stop. Other than that, guys, I do have a quick announcement. As you guys are probably knowing that you're getting all those NFL alerts going on and probably wondering why we haven't talked about them. Well, guess what? Here soon, we're going to be telling you about these alerts going on and everything that's happened, trades, releases, signings. So keep an eye out for that. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and like all of our videos and hit the notification button to get all of the notifications and alerts that go on. Justin, you want to close this out with all our social medias?
Make sure you go ahead and go to every search bar on the social medias that we have, at least. I'm gonna refrain a little bit back on that one because we don't have everything. But on TikTok, on Facebook, and on Instagram, go to the search bar, search Ballin' with the Boys, follow, like, comment, do whatever it allows you to do, and turn on your post notifications so you don't miss these updates that we keep coming out with.
As you guys know, keep balling.